This is Unit 9 of the Special Needs Units mandated for Georgia school bus drivers. In this unit, we will be discussing loading and unloading non-ambulatory wheelchair passengers. Our objective is to provide training and instruction on the recommended practices for working alone or with the assistance of a monitor when loading and unloading non-ambulatory wheelchair passengers. The trainee shall be able to use the best recommended practices for the proper loading and unloading of non-ambulatory passengers, working alone or with the monitor. As an overview of this unit, we're going to do an introduction, the proper securement of the bus itself while loading and unloading wheelchair passengers, the proper operation of the lift, the proper placement and positioning of the three-point lap and shoulder restraint system, and the proper training for all other equipment. Why is this important? There are over 2,500 different makes and models of wheelchairs. Students come in all shapes and sizes. Each student has needs that are unique only unto themselves. Let's take a look first of all at the wheelchair itself. Again, there are over 2,500 makes and models, and some of them are not suitable for transportation of students on the bus. So the wheelchairs, first of all, must all have a safety lap belt. It has to be the kind of lap belt where the two sides lock together with an interlocking device that is in working condition. It is not acceptable for the lap belt to be latched with Velcro. It must also have working handbrakes for all the manually operated wheelchairs. The electric wheelchairs have to have working manual handbrakes, or they have to have an automatic brake activation when the wheelchair power is disengaged. All wheelchairs have to have properly inflated tires. All wheelchairs have to have properly positioned headrests, again the safety lap belt, footrests, and if they do allow for tilting, they must have anti-tilting devices. If the student's medical condition and or the individual education program requires additional equipment that is to be used during the transportation, the additional equipment will be used each and every time that the student is transported to and from the home, school, or to other activities. Now, what do you do before you actually begin your curbside pickup with any non-ambulatory wheelchair students? Ideally speaking, the supervisor or the driver should make a home or a visit to the school to inspect and determine the size of the wheelchair as well as the proper securement points. If you are not able to determine those proper securement points, please contact your supervisor for assistance. At all times, you have to have a complete morning and afternoon route sheet. The route sheet should give directions from the bus parking location to the first stop and to subsequent stops thereafter, including the direction to the schools. It should give the time and location of each stop. It should give the name of the student and the contact phone number information. You should know which school the student attends and contact information for the school, and any other information that a sub-driver might find helpful. For each student, you should have the necessary medical information, and it should be kept confidential on the bus. There should also be emergency drop-off information indicating the name, address, and phone number of the responsible party. Question: is it necessary to inspect a wheelchair before you transport the student for the first time? Yes, you're going to want to know the securement points and how to handle the wheelchair once you get it on the bus. Best recommended practices on securement points, and again, let's understand the nature of the wheelchair itself. The strongest point of any wheelchair is the main frame. This is the tubular metal parts around the frame. Look for a welded joint in an L-shaped portion of the frame. Keep in mind that the seat portion of the wheelchair supports the total body weight of the student. So it is the seat that supports the total body weight of the student, and it is the main frame that is the strongest part of the chair itself. So what you look for are the bars located directly underneath the seat. That should be the point of securement. Electric wheelchairs sometimes vary. They may have heavy-formed plastic covers that do not allow the normal access to the desired points of securement. If you cannot determine the proper points of securement, please be certain to check with your supervisor or safety training people to determine the proper points of securement before you attempt to transport a student in an electric wheelchair. Okay, question. The seat portion of the wheelchair supports the blank, blank, blank of the student. The seat portion of the wheelchair supports the total body weight of the student. If you cannot determine the proper points of securement, who should you check with? And the answer is the supervisor or safety training people in the school transportation department. Remember, it is the transportation department that has the expertise on the securement equipment on the bus and how to transport the wheelchair. Question, what is the strongest part of any wheelchair? It is the main frame. So again, as a summary, what you're looking for is the mainframe portion of the wheelchair located beneath the seat in order to find the optimal securement point on the wheelchair. All right, let's talk about securing the bus itself before you load the wheelchair passenger. As you approach the stop, always have your 8-way lights on. Stop the bus at the curbside at the end of the driveway with the lift door opening at the center of the driveway. Set your parking brake and place the bus gear in neutral. If you have a bus monitor, typically the driver should remain inside the bus at the lift platform area waiting to receive the student from the lift platform. If there is no monitor, the driver is going to have to exit the bus. So, where should the lift door be positioned before lowering the lift? It should be in the center of the driveway. If there is a driver and a monitor on the bus, who goes outside to operate the lift? That should be the monitor. Okay, preparing the lift itself for loading. The monitor or the driver has to exit the bus. Open and secure the lift doors to the exterior wall of the bus. The door holder must be used during the operation of the lift to prevent damage to the lift or the door. Before operating the lift, make sure that the lift area is clear underneath. Make sure that there's no feet, children, pets, etc. Make sure that the safety belt on the lift platform is fastened. Press up on the control box to raise the lift to the full upright position. Press unfold on the control box to open the platform. Press unfold to lower the lift platform to the floor level of the bus until you hear a burr type clicking sound. This sound indicates that the unfold cycle is complete. Newer model lifts make little or no noise. Newer model lifts automatically stop at the floor level when the unfold cycle is complete. Then you press the down until the platform reaches the ground level. Older lift models have manually operated wheel guards. Newer models will open automatically. If you have a monitor, they will greet the student and the parent or the guardian. They will place the student on the lift with his or her body facing outward away from the side of the bus. Check to make sure the student's lap belt is properly secured. Apply the hand brakes or power off the electric wheelchair. Inform the student you are ready to go up. Place one hand on the armrest of the wheelchair and press up until the platform reaches the floor level. Again, older lift models must be stopped manually. Newer lift models will stop automatically. Okay, question. Should a safety belt on the lift platform be fastened? And the answer is yes. In what direction on the lift should the student's body be facing? Should be facing outward, away from the side of the bus. If you have a monitor, the driver meets the students at the lift platform opening. Pull the wheelchair onto the bus and place into the position to begin the 4-point securement process. Lock the hand brakes or power off the motorized chair. Remove any lap trays and properly secure them. Again, if you have the monitor, the bus monitor will raise, fold, and secure the lift platform while the driver is working with the student to secure the chair. The bus monitor is then going to close and secure the lift door. The monitor will re-enter the bus through the main entry door and assist with the 4-point securement process and the lap shoulder belt. Students are safe inside the bus while the 4-point securement process is being completed. You then close the entry door, which deactivates the 8-way warning system. If it's the driver only, leave the student on the lift platform. Enter the bus through the main entry door. Receive the student and unlock the wheelchair brake or put the power on. Pull the wheelchair in and place in the position to begin the 4-point securement process. Apply the hand brakes or power off the motorized wheelchairs. Complete the 4-point securement, including the lap shoulder belt. Then you exit the bus. At that point, then, you would raise, fold, and secure the lift platform and close the lift door. You re-enter the bus through the main entry door and close the door to deactivate the 8-way warning systems. Again, this procedure may vary from system to system. Okay, positioning of the wheelchair. Leave enough room between the wheelchairs for you to maneuver. Center the wheelchair between parallel floor tracking systems. Leave 1 to 2 inches between the curve of the rear wheel and the rear securement buckle when in the locked position. That allows room to operate the securement buckle freely. Remove any lap trays and properly secure them. Properly secure any other type of equipment that is to be transported in accordance with the student's individualized education program. Place the student's name above the designated wheelchair position. Place students in a seating order so as to accommodate an emergency evacuation situation should the need arise. When placing a wheelchair in position on the bus, what direction should the chair be facing? Always facing forward, unless otherwise noted in the student's information portion of the IEP. Should the wheelchair be centered between parallel floor tracking systems? Yes. Okay, let's talk about securing the chair itself to the bus. First, you're going to attach the 2 rear securement straps. Position both rear securement strap fittings into the floor tracking 3 to 8 inches from the rear tires of the wheelchair. Loop the hook end of each securement strap around the main frame of the wheelchair. Clip hook into the O-ring of each securement strap. With the buckle open, pull each loose strap snug, keeping the loose end of the strap within the buckle guide. Left and right straps should be hooked at the same position on each side of the wheelchair and inside the wheels at a minimum of 45 degrees to a maximum of a 90-degree angle, with no twists in the belts and evenly distributed pressure. Caution: over-tightening may cause damage to the wheelchair. Too much tension may cause the handle to snap forward. Hold the buckle firmly and carefully rotate up to release the tension, and then relock the buckle. Question: position 1 rear securement strap fitting into the floor tracking at 3 to 6 inches from the rear tires and 5 to 8 inches on the other rear tire of the wheelchair. Is that true or false? The answer is false. Both the left and the right rear securement straps should be the same distance and at the same angle from the back of the wheelchair. Question: left and right straps should be hooked at the same position on each side of the wheelchair at a minimum of 45 to a maximum of a 90-degree angle. And that is true. Again, the angles should be similar, at least a 45-degree angle, but not more than a 90-degree angle. Let's talk about securing the 2 front straps. Position both the front securement strap fittings in the floor tracking 3 to 8 inches from the front tire of the wheelchair. Again, loop hook end of each securement strap around the main frame of the wheelchair bend or fold near the knee. The left and the right straps should be hooked at the same position, one on each side of the wheelchair at a minimum of 45 to 90-degree maximum degree angle, with no twist in the belts and evenly distributed pressure. Again, do not over-tighten the securement straps as it may cause damage to the chair itself. The front securement strap fittings in the floor tracking should be 3 to 8 inches from the rear tires. False. They should be secured 3 to 8 inches from the front tires. When hooking the left and right straps, they should be in the same position on each side at a minimum of 30 to 45-degree angle with one twist in the belt and evenly distributed pressure. False. They need to be 45 to 90 degrees and there should be no twists in the belt. Let's talk about attaching the lap belt. The lap belt track fitting should be secured to the floor track fitting at the rear of the wheelchair. The female receiver should be placed to the inside aisle of the bus. The male connector should be placed to the wall side of the bus. Advise the student that you are bringing the lap belt through the armrest area across the student's bony pelvic area. Fasten and pull the strap to take up the slack. Do not over-tighten the lap belt. Note: if not possible to actually bring the lap belt across the student's bony pelvic area, bring the lap belt across the top of the armrest and fasten. Okay, as a question, should the belt track fitting be secured to the floor track fitting at the rear of the wheelchair? And that is yes. The fittings should be secured behind the wheelchair to the floor tracks. Before you bring the lap belt through the armrest across the student's bony pelvic area, should you advise the student? And the answer to that question is yes. The shoulder belt track fitting should be placed on the appropriate level on the wall-mounted tracking with the release button facing the front of the bus. Advise the student that you're bringing the shoulder belt over the shoulder and all the way across the chest of the student. Make certain the shoulder belt fastener is in the correct position. Attach fastener to the lap belt button and adjust for tightness. To check for proper tightness of the shoulder belt, 3 fingers placed together in an angle should fit between the shoulder belt and the student's body. The shoulder belt position should not interfere with any medical equipment on the student. Use a shirt or a jacket collar to aid in more comfortable use of the shoulder belt. To check for proper tightness of the shoulder belt, 3 fingers placed together at an angle should fit between the shoulder belt and the student's body. That is true. Use blank or blank blank to aid in the seat belt comfort of the student. The answer to that would be a shirt or a jacket collar. In summary, disabilities may range from very mild to very severe and profound. Some students may be both mentally and physically challenged. There may be some physical body distortion that requires an extremely large wheelchair to accommodate that particular student's need for transportation. We've talked about proper securement of the bus while loading and unloading the wheelchair students. We've talked about proper operation of the wheelchair lift. We've talked about proper placement and positioning of the 3-point lap and shoulder belt restraint system, and proper training for all of the other equipment that may be required for transporting special needs students. How do you apply this? The trainee should use the information when transporting special needs students to and from the school, creating a safe environment. The trainee's knowledge of bus and students' equipment will lessen the liability of the driver and the school system. The measure of the performance, there will be some written tests, and you will demonstrate your ability to use the lift and how to secure the wheelchair and the student within the wheelchair. Thank you for your attention.